Pylon listeners, we are back recording this at the end of September 28th. And we have a lot to talk about with week 4 coming up. We got a divisional game, Bears and Lions. Green Bay hosting the Steelers, and then Minnesota hosting the Browns. We're going to get into all of that, but before I do, let's introduce the Pylon crew. So I'm Big Z, representing the Detroit Lions. Then we got Kinger, representing the Packers.
Gentlemen, as always, great to be back with you. As you all know, a week after your team's victory, it just hits different. You know, the vibes are automatically great. Happy to be back, talk some football.
Remy, representing the Vikings.
Minnesota fans, stand up. We got a nice home stretch of games coming up. Kirk has yet to throw an interception. Skol, baby.
And then last but not least, Barney, representing the Bears.
Bears fans have a win-win situation this week. Either they win or they lose, and Nagy is just catapulted into the sun.
I wanted to ask you about that, Barney. Coming in this week, are Bears fans going to be rooting for the Lions to get Nagy fired this week? Is that something you think that's out there to at least a minority of Bears fans?
I'm sure there's some just that will root for that. I won't until the clock hits zeros. Then I'll then I'll be happy. But I doubt there's a lot of people just rooting for the Lions.
Because I got a lot of texts from people saying that they're going to take the Lions this week in their bets just because of what they saw from the Bears last week. And this is Bears fans saying they'll bet on the Lions because they're so disgusted with their team, or at least after that performance last week. I wasn't surprised to see these texts. I get them all the time. They just make me chuckle. But
yeah, Bears rarely ever cover. If you're ever going to win, it's always taking the other team or the under. That's usually the only scenarios.
So let's get in that game because that's the first one I wanted to lead off with here.
You go first. I want to hear your breakdown.
All right. I mean, so first of all, the Lions, 2.5-point underdogs, traveling to Chicago. This is a noon game, noon Central. And the Lions always have a tough time in Chicago, it seems. Or at least, Barney, I should say, rather, these games always come down the wire, it seems, doesn't it? It's usually ugly, low scoring. That's how it's been traditionally, it seems. Although last year was not low scoring, the game in Chicago. That was really high scoring game. And where Allen Robinson goes out a yard short of the fourth down, then he tried running it on a draw and lose that way. And then I think Aquara forced a fumble, too, that got us the ability to win that game late as well.
Right.
But either way, before I get into my analysis, Jamie Collins gets released today by the Lions. So add that to the dead cap money for the Lions. His total dead cap will come off the books in 2 years. Right now, gentlemen, though, the Lions have $55 million in dead cap money on their salary cap. That is
a lot of that's from Stafford, though, right?
Stafford, yeah, taking on Jared Goff's contract as well. I mean, they are really building for the future. But were you guys surprised that Jamie Collins didn't get at least like a 6th or 7th rounder based on some of the linebacker injuries in the league? No?
Not at all.
I thought he might.
Is there any doubt that he ends up on the Patriots, a team other than the Patriots?
Probably.
I don't think there's any doubt. If he doesn't go there, I don't know who would want him, honestly. I thought maybe we can get a 7th out of him. You know, I don't
Big
know.
Z, this is going to hurt your
Everybody's going to
feelings
cut
here.
him. Everybody knew that he was going to get cut.
Yeah. I mean, he literally didn't play last week. So
I think this is going to hurt your feelings, but I think you guys get very good players that it might happen the first game or the first season, but eventually they just don't want to play anymore in Detroit. And it was clear in the last game, Jamie Collins, I mean, it was clear in the last couple games, but he was just clearly just trying to stay healthy so that, the inevitable will happen. I think he's still a solid player. And the second he plays for a team that he actually wants to play for, I think he'll be pretty decent. But I
don't know. He was terrible on the Browns. He's only ever been good on one team. That's the Patriots. So, I mean, his time in Detroit, I mean, honestly, even in the Patricia era, too, he wasn't very good. He was part of that, historically terrible defense. I'm not sad to see him go at all in the slightest. It sucks that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are kind of stuck with him because he does not seem like a linebacker that fits sort of system they want. They want agile. They want speed at the linebacker position, and Collins doesn't really fit either of those. Patricia wanted him as a guy that can stuff a hole on the run more so, and he does not fit the system we currently have. Remy, you want to throw something in there?
Yeah, no, it's actually just kind of for the both of you guys. When we were giving our season prediction, I think it was pretty much noted that everyone was giving the Lions maybe 3 to 4 wins. I gave them 5, and I don't know if you and Barney have like a bet going on who gets more wins. But with kind of what we saw last week with Chicago, I am getting a little off track here, but with what we saw with last week with Chicago and how Goff can just hang into games. Rightfully, you guys could have won 2 games against the Niners and Baltimore.
I don't know if we would have won the Niners. We were down 38-10 in that game. So.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, you showed promise. This game right here might determine who's big brother and who's little brother for the time being.
I love that you're not in this conversation at all. Yeah, you get one win, and all of a sudden it's either Bears or Detroit. That's fucking hilarious, Remy.
Hey, you guys are playing each other when the Minnesota Vikings have to play one of you guys teams who I am not scared of, by the way. Let me make that known. I'm not scared of. Well, we can talk about that, but this is a nice rivalry we got going on here, and the tables could turn or they could stay the same. But I'm kind of wondering, like, it's still early. Justin Fields has played 1 game. It's still early. Justin Fields could come out and throw for 2 tuds and run 1 in, and oh my gosh, the fluke game last week would mean nothing. That being said, I guess I circle back to Big Z's question: are Bears fans more concerned about Nagy leaving, or it's early? You guys want to win games with Justin Fields, of course.
And let me throw out something there that I told Kinger when we played them too. What's the best cure for an ailing offense? Is the Detroit Lions defense. I hope that's not the case this week because I think the Green Bay offense is significantly head over heels better than anything the Bears offense has shown this year. And Dalton probably won't be back, right, Barney?
Nah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Fields out there.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. I really do because I think the Lions defense took a step up last week. I like our D line going against this offensive line. That's not saying much because I think the Bears offensive line is I don't understand their offseason, and watching Jason Peters last week makes me a little happy to see what Aquara can do this week against this offensive line. And Trey Flowers, for that matter, who's had a decent amount of success against the Bears, but especially Aquara because he's played well against the Bears in the past. So I really like this defensive line going against the Bears offensive line again. If the Lions can stop the run, I really like our chances. I think that's where the Bears are going to be trying to attack. They're going to try to establish the run because God only knows they could have used that last week. And the best way to protect your passer is to establish a run so the D-line doesn't just pin their ears back every play. I really like our chances there, and I think we're taking a step up each week, and the defenses have been improving each week, especially in second half adjustments, something we never saw under Matt Patricia. As far as our offense, it'll be interesting. Like I said, we haven't used any of our wide receivers this year, really to a degree. But how have tight ends gone against the Bears this year, Barney? How have they performed against? How have they defended tight ends, rather? Sorry.
Defensively, I don't think that we've been exploited at all. In a couple of games, I'm thinking of the Browns guys, Njoku and Hooper. Hooper had a touchdown, but that was like basic. He really didn't have a stat line. I don't know. I think Hawkinson's gonna eat, but that's just because that's the only guy you guys can throw to. I don't see really any threats on your offensive side. I will say, like, that doesn't mean that I think I've been impressed by your offense. I think the Lions have, they have been able to move the ball pretty consistently. But the defense for the Bears has not been a weak link. We have issues at our nickel, but who's that? Amon-Ra is going to be fit. That's probably going to be our best matchup so far.
So what makes me think the Lions can move the ball in this game is the two things I've seen from the Bears defense is they haven't been great against the run. 215 yards last week against the Browns, but also the covering running backs out of the backfield hasn't been, I wouldn't say spectacular, and that's been a strength of the Lions, especially with Swift out of the backfield. Kareem Hunt 6 catches for 74 yards last week, and I think you're going to see Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift probably get 7-8 catches again this game. That's what Jared Goff's been doing all year, and that's what's worked. That's what's moved the ball for the Lions.
It works. I agree.
So I like our chances in this game, but I'll wait for Barney to give his kind of analysis, then we can give our predictions. Barney?
Yeah, I mean, we just got punched in the face last week, and everybody's got a plan until they do so. And like you guys could, I mean, Remy was saying like it was maybe a fluke game by Justin Fields or whatever. I mean, the guy had 0.78 seconds to get rid of the ball. We were in 5 protection for 21 of his 30 dropbacks versus a team that sacked us 9 times. I mean, you guys, at least from a team standpoint, your play caller is head and shoulders above Nagy. I'll give you that. Your in-game adjustments are head and shoulders above Nagy. That's about where I would say that you guys are better than us. I mean, I think at most angles we're probably pretty even. I wouldn't say the Bears are much better in most scenarios. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think the Bears have ever played horrible or bad versus the Lions. I mean, that game last year that you guys came around with the victory, I mean, that Mitch Trubisky couldn't hang on to the ball with 2 minutes left in the game. He got strip sacked. For me, it comes down to stopping the run with you guys. And you guys, I mean, I'm kind of like beating a dead horse here, but you guys are all play action and running the ball, and you guys run the ball pretty well behind that line. We don't really scare versus people that run the ball. I think we'll be just fine in that department. Eddie Goldman's fat ass can get on the team around the sideline, hopefully, or he can just, we can cut him. I don't know what the hell's going on to him, but he's just stealing money from the Bears. But at the end of the day, dude, if we're looking at it, I think the Bears have more playmakers. You guys have better coaching, but I see the Bears winning a very close game. I don't think we're going to really pull away from anyone this season.
Yeah.
But when we're facing you guys, it's watch out for Hawk and stop the run, and then keep everything in front of you. And you're saying that you guys are pretty successful with DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. All right, I'm cool with that. Keep everything in front of us, and I'm sure that at the end of the drives there'll be 3-pointers instead of 7. So I don't know. I really have no faith in Nagy. It kills me to say that, but I do think Fields will have much more time to process and throw the ball and get the ball out. And I think he's going to do a pretty damn good job. So I don't know. Do you want a score prediction or?
Yeah, give us a score prediction.
I'm going to say Bears win 24-21.
Okay. So yeah, you have a close. You have the Bears covering by half a point there. I'm going to go. I think the Lions win this one. I like this matchup for them. The one thing they don't have, like the Browns had last week, is a guy like Myles Garrett that's just going to destroy an entire offensive line. But I do think we have enough pieces there on offense to move the ball and score. And then especially on defense, I think we're making big improvements. And going against this offensive line makes me confident that we can pull off the road upset. So having said that, I'm going to go 23-21 Lions in this one. Kinger?
This is tough for me, and I want to take Detroit. I really want to take Detroit.
Yeah, you do. Come on. You know you want to.
So
do it.
Here's the issue that I have here is, I think Matt Nagy's press conference yesterday, he talked about how they've got to evaluate, and it's on him. It starts with him. It's the same.
Didn't he say he didn't know who was starting this week?
Yeah, that's what he's opening up a brand new quarterback competition 3 weeks into the season between all 3 of his guys,
He's
right?
Fucking cancer.
So here's what I'm concerned about with the Bears, because I agree with Barney's assessment that the defense, I like the Bears defensively here versus the Lions. I really do. I don't think the Bears defense has played that bad this season. I do think with the limited weapons with the Detroit on the offensive side of the ball, the Bears have the upper hand there. My concern is I think has to start getting in the locker room. Everybody's aware of what's going on in Chicago, right? And people I think are really starting to realize that Matt Nagy is not the offensive minded coach that everybody thought he was when he was hired 4 years ago. You could have seen that 2 years ago, but here we are still in year 4 and we're still experiencing the same issues. I think part of that has to start to creep in the locker room. And I'm not quite sure how energetic and how serious and how fired up these boys can continue to get to play for him on a week-to-week basis. That said, I like him at home. I do. I think you play the Lions defense. There's no way in hell the Bears are going to have a repeat performance as bad as last week. I don't think it's going to be anything. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any way where they're going to go blow the brakes off of anybody.
If they
like
did,
Barney
that'd
said.
be amazing.
So
that'd be incredible.
I
What
think,
you're saying is at the end of the day, it's the Lions that we're facing.
I think the Bears could average 1.3 yards.
It's the Lions, and I trust Jared Goff historically versus the Bears. I just looked this stat up. He's 54 for 95 with 2 touchdowns and 5 picks in the 3 games versus the Bears historically. I'm going to bet on the Bears defense in a home stadium. I think it's going to be low scoring again. I'm going to go 21-17 Chicago.
Well, he had that one really bad one, right?
He's on camera saying that he's like terrified of Khalil Mack. I mean, like I think he's already in his own head. But at the end, but you guys have a good O-line, so we'll see. I would love Khalil Mack or Robert Quinn to beat the living piss out of Penis Sewell. All right, that would make me smile.
Sewell's up to the challenge, baby. Sewell's up for the challenge. How often what's the Bears blitz percentage? How often do they blitz, Barney?
I don't know.
That's what hurt us last week against the Ravens, especially in the first half, was how much we were blitzing. It kind of confused Sewell.
We definitely blitz a lot more than we had the last 2 years with Pagano because he kind of just dropped everybody back. But
because that, like the Packers, they didn't blitz at all in the first half of that game, and then they started blitzing the second half and to start throwing Goff off a little bit more. So if the Bears don't blitz, I like our chances. But I don't know what their game plan is. But yeah, Remy, let's get your thoughts really quick. What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. I think the Lions are on a come-up. I like their O-line. I think Jared Goff has a day with somebody. I don't know who yet. And I think the Bears will continue to fail under whatever's going on there in Chicago that's not named the Bulls, Blackhawks, or anything else. I think it's going to be 28-13 in Detroit's favor.
Ooh, I like it. I love it. I love it at least. Remy, always
sprinkle a little money line this weekend, Remy. After that, you better sprinkle a little money.
Yeah. He said stay tuned when we
Remy.
got on. He said I'd like one of his bets later on today.
I like this game a hell of a lot more now that Remy spit out that bullshit.
All right, gentlemen.
Take it easy on the volcano, all right?
So that's Bears Lions. Again, that's noon. Lions underdogs. But let's move now on to the Vikings, who are going to be hosting the Browns. This is a fun game. This is a really fun game, especially after what the Browns did last week to the Bears. Vikings, home underdogs again, Remy, being disrespected. Over under 52. They're not expecting a lot of defense in this one. So, Remy, give us your thoughts, man.
First things first, I do believe that Rashad Breeland, our second quarterback, needs to be benched for Cam Dantzler. Breeland keeps getting burned. He is rated
You love
the
Cam
worst
Dantzler.
quarterback.
He also loved Rashad Breeland too.
Yeah, he did.
I did. Yeah. Well,
He's
sorry,
hot
we
and
all
cold
can't
each
have
week.
Jalen Johnson's. Yeah, hot and cold. Yep. Anyway, after Minnesota, after their defense got in sync in the second half, holding Seattle to only 80 yards the second half, there's no reason why Kirk can't come out, and he has to play the way he's been playing. Expect Dalvin Field to be back. Expect Anthony Barr to finally make his debut, which will allow more blitzes. It showed, Everson Griffin had a sack last game. Eric Kendrick had a sack last game. So when you can detain Daniil Hunter, you got to watch out for all these guys. I really like Minnesota's defense going up against this offense. And I really like Minnesota's offense going up against this defense. I think Thielen, he hasn't missed a game where he's caught a touchdown. He's got a touchdown in every single game. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Dalvin Cook returning. Guys like Tyler Conklin and KJ Osborne, who are kind of some unknown unsung heroes, and then Greg the Leg, we'll call him again and see if he can keep that up. But for me, I'm taking the Vikes +2, and we've put up points every game. I'm taking another 35 burger. We're gonna go 35-28 Minnesota.
And what's your biggest fear in this game with the Browns? Is it their running attack,
their defense,
Odell,
their D line with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on each side? Our O line has to hold up, and Kirk has to get rid of the ball, and we have to be able to run on them.
All right. I mean, I meant from their offensive side more so, though. Are you worried more about the run game or Odell being back and being healthy? Odell looked pretty good last week against the Bears.
Odell
considering
did
his
look
first
good,
game in
but
forever.
we are coming off a week of, quote unquote, shutting down Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. So I kind of look at it as that. I think they can, our secondary with Harrison Smith and Xavier Woods can help out the corners. I do think we see a cornerback change, and I really hope it's Dantzler, for the love of God. He actually tweeted after the game that he's getting fed up with this, and then later deleted the tweet, but the coach saw it and has to have a talk with him. So, and this Brown team is a sleeper to go to the Super Bowl, and would be a team that I would probably choose to beat Minnesota if we hadn't looked so. We've looked decent the last few weeks, and I always say it on the podcast, we're a field goal and a fumble away from being 3-0. But the reality is that to not get down on being 1-2, and we have 2 home games, this one and the Lions coming up, going into our bye. So there's no excuse why we can't, quote unquote, run the table for a little bit going into our bye week and turn this thing around.
All right, Barney, what do you think about this game? What do you got?
I think it's a bad matchup for the Vikings. Defensively, the only thing that the Vikings do well is their third down percentage. They're third in the league right now, but in basically any statistical category that there is defensively, they're pretty damn bad. The Browns are one of the most balanced teams in the NFL. And I know numbers are skewed because they just beat the shit out of our team, right? But I don't believe in that Vikings line. I think it's better than the Bears line, but I don't think it's night and day. And I don't think it's going to be a comfortable game for Remy. I think you guys will still be able to put up some points, but that Browns defense, and I'm not even just talking about the line, their front seven, their secondary's good. So, it'll be a matchup, but just if they're going to win, Justin Jefferson and Thielen have got to have, career games, I think, because if they don't, I mean, I just see your guys' offense getting absolutely eaten up. But I'm going to say, what's the spread on this?
2.5 Vikings underdogs.
I'm going to go Browns 30, Vikings 23.
All right. So Remy, that's the one against you. I actually do like the Vikings here, especially as a home team. I've kind of been watching this Browns team closely because I bet on them to win the Super Bowl. So I think the Vikings matchup, I like the fact that this is the home game for them. If they're on the road, I don't think they win, but I do like the fact that it's a home game. So I think it's going to at least be close. I have the Vikings winning this one 28-27. I think it's going to be a really close game. These teams match up very, very evenly. But I do like the way the Vikings are running, and I like the fact that they run like the zone blocking scheme, the outside zone blocking scheme. I think that's going to nullify some of that pass rush and get them some of the yards that they need against this defense. So I like the way the Vikings actually match up against the Browns here, and that's why I'm going to lean for them. Kinger?
Tough game for me to pick as well. I think this is one of the better matchups this week.
Fun one,
absolutely. And regardless of my feelings towards Minnesota, I think, like Remy said, they have looked pretty good overall. And offensively, that offensive line is really held up a lot better than what I anticipated coming into this season. And I think that's really the main reason why Kirk Cousins has looked a little bit better than historical Kirk Cousins thus far. I still like the Browns to put up points on Minnesota. They've scored 26 and at least 26 in all three of their games. Baker Mayfield's looked good. Odell said he didn't even feel like he had his feet under him last week, so I think he's only going to continue to get better. I am going to give Minnesota the edge at home, though. I'm going to go 28-27. I think we got a close ball game here, and we're going to give the Vikings the nod at home.
228-27 prediction.
Is that what you? Oh, so I was zoned out, so I completely missed that. There we go. We're on the same mindset there, Big Z.
If that hits, if you predict that right score,
did you also?
Isn't that one of like Terry Bradshaw's?
No, Remy had, what do you have? 35-28.
35-28.
Yeah.
Wait, did you literally just say 28-27 Minnesota too?
I did.
Big
Yeah.
Z
Oh,
did,
yeah.
That's hilarious.
So that's 3 for Minnesota and 1 against. So Remy, you can really give it to Barney, on Sunday night when if the Vikings pull it out.
Let's hope.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to the last NFC North game, and that is the Packers hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a 3:25 Central kickoff in Lambeau. The Packers 6.5-point favorites right now. Over under 46. Kinger, how you feeling about this matchup with the Steelers, team that's really been struggling? Big upset against Buffalo week 1, and then they've looked terrible the next couple of weeks.
I'm feeling real good, actually. Coming off that big win Sunday night in San Francisco, my confidence level, which was pretty much 0 with the new Joe Barry defense, is up to, I'd say probably sitting around a good 35% confidence level. I think, honestly, he called a great game on Sunday night, mixing up a lot of different coverages, bringing a lot of different disguised blitzes. He really brought some pressures in some key moments there. And I think that this is going to hopefully carry over and transition into this big week 4 matchup at home. The Steelers offensively, you've said it yourself. I mean, they've really struggled. There's a little bit of a surprise upset in Buffalo week 1. Well, I don't know if it was a surprise because everybody, I think, did have somewhat high hopes on Pittsburgh coming into this season, and they've really struggled. They're last in the league currently. They only have 135 rushing yards on the ground through 3 games. That offensive line has been very shaky. Big Ben sitting there with a QBR of only 35. They've just really not shown, that they really have the capability to really put any explosive plays together or put together some decent drives. I don't know if it's the new offensive coordinator there, if it's really, or Big Ben's just really aging, getting washed up. I'm sure it's a little bit of a combination with both.
I think it's a combination of their offensive line and Big Ben. They're both not good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I mean, Big Ben's made some plays. I mean, you've seen some highlights on Twitter of him just stumbling and falling, and you're just like, whoa, how, any one of us could get out there and look more athletic than Big Ben at this point, right? So, I think that they're going to have a little bit of a tall task. Again, I think the Packers defense has the ability to keep anybody in a football game, but I hope some of that momentum carries over, right? And you take a look at the strength of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is that defense. They were without TJ Watt last week. I think he's dealing with a groin injury. I anticipate him to come back this week. As you guys know, I picked him to be the defensive player of the year, in our preseason predictions. But they've got some studs out there. Casey Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end. I like what they have in place out there, and I think it's going to be another stiff test for Green Bay and Rodgers this week. Now, that being said, since the horrendous performance from Aaron week 1, which at this point we're just calling a wash at this point, Rodgers has been on fire the last couple of weeks. He's got 6 touchdowns, no interceptions since week 1. He's leading the league in QBR. He's looked like vintage Rodgers again. And I think we've kind of got some momentum going. We've got the run game going. Even with the offensive line being injured, they've held up very well. And I just think, again, it's going to be a ball game where I think Green Bay is going to score some points, and it's just going to come down to, can that defense continue just to sustain Big Ben? And, so far this year, he's not really proven anything that is making me think that anything's going to go different. Green Bay is great at home. These last 3 years, they've lost. You can count on a number of one hand, the number of games they've lost at home. So I really like the momentum. We got the CBS primetime slot with Nance and Tony Romo. So looking forward to that. I do enjoy when those guys call the game. The one thing I wanted to point out here before I do make my prediction, as I said, like Green Bay, there's some insane numbers coming out of Devontae here thus far. He's leading the league in receptions and targets already. He's got 39 targets through 3 games, 25 receptions. He's on track right now to have 190 targets and 140 plus receptions. So I think they had 110 over on the year. I mean, that's looking like it's going to hit, far and away. He's also got the most targets through 3 games. He's got 38% of share of Green Bay's passing targets through 3 games, which is the most in like 6 or 7 years. So, I mean,
He'll
if
get
I'm
turned toe by week 7, though.
Okay, let's not wish that on him here, Barney. But if
No,
I'm the
I'm
Pittsburgh
just saying.
Steelers, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, and quite frankly, if I'm any team in the NFL, I'm putting 2 guys on him all day long, and I'm making somebody else beat us on defense. Right? Devontae's too good. And it's just pretty impressive. So I really like that to carry over. I don't see this being as potentially a high scoring game as last week, just because I do think the Steelers defense has some fight in them. I mean, Mike Tomlin's a great football coach. He has been for years. And I think they are going to come out and put up a fight. But that being said, I think Green Bay is too much at home. I'm going to go 27-17 Packers at home.
Remy, you can't be picking the Steelers, right?
Kinger, I love you, but you know my rule. And
so are we going to get 17 weeks of you picking against the Packers this year?
Yeah, no, I'll never pick for the Packers. It's in my
What if they're playing the
Iowa.
0-14 Jaguars? I don't know if they're even
Jaguars are
playing.
getting their first dub.
The only let me make this clear. The only way I ever root for Green Bay in my entire existence.
This is not rooting. This is a prediction.
This is not rooting. This is exactly.
This
This is an analyst prediction, Remy. That's what you are.
Oh no,
NFL
and I
analyst.
analyze the Packers to be trash every weekend. And so that being said, I love
Kinger.
you,
He's
but
blinded. He is blinded.
He is blinded.
Well, dude, and when you're a Viking fan, you are taught and born and raised, and it's in your blood to hate the Packers. You almost hate the Packers more than you like the Vikings, to be honest. But anyway, I got a 28-25. It's close, but Pittsburgh just gonna inch it right out of there, and all of the hope in Green Bay will be melted cheese.
Ooh.
Melted cheese is good, man. I don't know.
But, no, man. As a Viking fan, you hate the Packers. You don't bet on them. You don't draft them on your fantasy team. You don't do any of that. Any of it. I'm sorry. It's I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
All right, man. You do you. You do you over there. Barney, what do you got?
I think this game is going to be pretty boring to watch, to be honest. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do enough to basically keep the Pittsburgh Steelers at bay. They're not going to be. I mean, I have a score like 21-10. I have no faith in Ben. Ben looks like he sucks. You guys already said the offensive line's bad. I don't know. Their most famous guy's a TikTok guy. If it wasn't for Green Bay's defense, it could be close. I don't know. 21-10 Packers.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are right now this is the same stat as last year with their running back. Like they're only averaging like 1.3 yards before first contact for the running back, which is just atrocious. And it's the same problems they had last year, and they didn't figure it out, and they went out and didn't upgrade their offensive line at all. Big Ben looks horrible, which is kind of you can't 100% blame him because the offensive line stinks, but they can't throw it deep either. And so, the Kevin King issues, I don't think really will apply too much in this game, which is usually the biggest concern for Packers fans. So I really like this matchup for the Packers. I have them winning 27 to, I think, 13. I don't think it's close.
How about Najee with 14 receptions out of the back?
Oh, yeah.
This week?
Great for my
insane.
fantasy. Great for my fantasy.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, that means they got nothing. Big Ben's just literally just dumping it down all day because he's got no time, or the receivers aren't getting open.
Let's hope that trend continues. That's all I'll say for the sake of my fantasy team. It was spectacular to see that. So all right, we all predict. Well, I guess Remy didn't. So three predictions for the Packers, 1 for the Steelers, and that wraps up our NFC North Week 4 preview. Now let's get into the last part of our Week 4 preview, and that, of course, is best bets. Barney, why don't you give us an update on how we're doing?
Yeah, Big Z still at the bottom, but he had a great week last week.
Great as a not 0-3, that's for sure.
Then it's me, followed by Kinger and Remy tied for first.
All
Very
right.
exciting. Very exciting right here.
There we go. So let's get into the Week 4 best bets. Who wants to start this one off?
Big Z. Oh, yeah, Remy.
Remy. Yeah, Remy's been excited about his. So let's get Remy after it here. You need to step it up this week, Remy, after a 1-2 week last week.
Step it up. I'm going to keep it going, baby. And we're starting off with the Rams, who are absolutely not fraudulent. I'm taking them -4.5 against the Cardinals. Cardinals, good team. Rams, better team. We saw that on display last week. Second team, I'm taking my boys in purple, Minnesota +2. I think it's +2.5.
2.5. Yep.
I'll take them +2.5. Last and certainly not least, I'm taking the Lions +3.
Yeah, baby. What if it's 2.5? Would you still take the?
It's 2.5. Isn't it?
I have 2.5 right now. Would you still take the Lions? Then?
I saw 3. Yeah, no, I'm taking the Lions. Are gonna win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Why not just go money line? Just go money line.
Put the money line.
You got to
out there,
sprinkle.
boy.
You got to sprinkle.
You got to sprinkle.
What is the money line?
+120.
Oh wow, so that's why don't you go money line there, big boy?
I bet with my brain sometimes. That's what's going to bring me back.
That's fair. That's all I needed to hear. 2.5.
All right, so Remy's going Rams and then Vikings and Lions. All right, a couple NFC North bets. I like it, especially in favor of my team. I always appreciate that, Remy. So
got you.
I'll take this one now. Last week I went with the teaser. The teaser hit. So I'm going to go back to the teaser again. There's some really nice teams throwing a teaser this week, gentlemen. So again, this is on DraftKings. You do you choose the 3 teams on the line, and then you can put a 7-point teaser on it. And this is at +130 odds. So the Saints at home is 8-point favorites. Tease that down to only 1-point favorites. The Chiefs, 7-point favorites on the road against Philadelphia. Tease that down to even, so pick 'em. And then the Packers, 6.5 points at home. Tease that down to 0.5 point underdog. So those 3 hit, and you win your +130 bet. So that's my first best bet. My second one, I keep going back and forth on this one, but I really like the Broncos at home against the Ravens. I still think they're underrated. The Ravens, I think, have a lot of injuries, and especially this being in Denver. I think I'm getting. We're getting
Denver's
points there.
Big test.
We're getting points there with the Broncos. I think, in my opinion, that's a really solid defense. I know Chubb's hurt, but I think the offense has shown enough where it's really hard to go into play in Denver anytime. It doesn't matter what time of year. But I think Denver's really rolling. Now I know they've played a bad schedule so far and they haven't been tested, but I think 1 point
former Louisville
as a home team against a Ravens team, I think is going to really struggle throwing the ball at all against this Denver team. I really like them at home. And then the last one,
-1, right?
Yeah, Denver's 1-point favorites at home. And then the last one, I've debated this one a lot. This is the toughest one for me. I was kind of just gonna see where my heart goes on this one, but
just say it.
No, I do. I like the. I'm gonna go Minnesota. I think as the home team, as 2.5 point underdogs. I was debating that between that and the Lions, or honestly the Chargers at home on Monday night against the Raiders.
You and Remy need to get a room.
I like this. I like them as I don't understand why they're underdogs. Honestly, I think this should be an even line at
they
the
haven't
very
figured
least.
out that we're
now the line does
dominant at
suggest
home
if
with
it's a
the
neutral
noise.
field, it's a pick 'em because usually you give 3 points for the home team. But that does suggest the Cleveland would be the 0.5 point favorite. Nevertheless, I do like the Vikings at home, 2.5 point underdogs. So there's my 3 best bets. But my best My best bet is the teaser for sure. I will be throwing a lot on that. Barney?
You snuck the teaser in there last week, and I kind of, I felt pretty good about throwing one together today.
Boy, let's get on it. Teaser train.
The first game, I have Kansas City -7 at CenturyLink. I think they're 11-1-1 in their last 13 games against the 1-11-1 in their last 13 games.
Yeah, it's bad.
So it's pretty bad, but they just lost 2 games, and I think they're top 2, not 2 in the NFL. So I think they're going to absolutely boat race Jalen Hurts. He's just not a good NFL quarterback.
I like that more so because
they're due for a cover too.
Yeah, they're 100% due for a cover.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win 50-10.
That Eagles team is bad. I think they got too much respect from week 1 performance against the Falcons, and it's still carrying over for some reason.
Right. Then the second game, Tom Brady after a loss. I don't know what the stat is, but it's pretty crazy. He's -7 against his former employer. I mean, dude, he does. I mean, I don't want to say hate, but he wants to prove there's nobody more competitive than Tom Brady. He wants to prove that it wasn't Belichick. He thinks he did it last year, but he's going to do it in New England, in Gillette. And I think Tampa Bay boat races the shit out of the Patriots.
And Tom Brady's supposed to be, isn't he close to Drew Brees' record? He might break it in this game.
Yeah, he should break it.
How many yards away is he? Do you know? I forgot what it was, but he's going to break the record in New England. I think that's pretty cool. But that's going to be a really fun game for sure. Belichick and Brady.
Yeah, I like both of those guys by both the touchdown. And then my teaser here, I'm going to throw those guys in there at Pick'ems. And then, I love the Carolina Dallas over. I think Dallas is just lightning in a bottle on offense. They can just get down the field in a hurry. They don't have a great defense. The line right now is at 50.5. I'm taking it down to 43.5 for the over. I think Carolina does enough to get to the 20-point mark, and Dallas gets to almost 30, maybe even more. So that's my teaser. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Pick'em, and then Carolina, Dallas, 43.5 over.
So you think offense beats defense in that scenario, huh? Because Carolina right now is the number 1 DVOA in defense.
That's fine.
All right, start out there. They have played the Jets and the Texans in 2 of their 3 games. So
yeah, I won't be paying attention to those stats at all.
Fair enough. All right, so there's Barney's best. So you have Chiefs -7, Bucks -7, and then throwing those 2 in a teaser plus the over 43.5.
Exactly.
Okay. So those are your 3.
And I will say, I the number 1 offense right now, the Dallas Cowboys, them facing Tampa Bay and their schedule, I think that number 1 is a hell of a lot better than the resume that the Carolina Packers have, or Carolina Panthers have for their defense.
Gotcha. So if one of your first 2 lose, then the teaser. Well, no, that's not true. Never mind. They could still win. All right, Kinger, let's go to you.
Boys, I hate to do this because it's just like you feel like dirty doing this, and I don't know. It always, when you pick favorites, to me, it's tough. But I'm going a week of favorites this week. I like the favorites. I was really looking at the board. It seems like there's gonna be a lot of close matchups this year, or this week, and I don't feel like I'm gonna take too many dogs. So I almost took the Chiefs, but I'm gonna actually put those guys to the side. So I'm on the Bucks -7 Sunday night. I'm with Barney. I think they're gonna absolutely destroy the Patriots at home. Mac Jones is really going through growing pains. I like Tampa Bay to destroy, or Tom Brady basically to destroy the Patriots in his return home, prove it was him. Second game, I'm going to take the Washington football team -1.5 versus Atlanta. I think Atlanta is absolute ass. They're ranked dead last behind the Bears and Jets in DVOA. The stat you just mentioned as well. I don't think that Washington's defense is underperformed thus far this season. And I think playing a Falcons team that has really struggled on the offensive side of the ball, I think this is a prime week for them to go out, get 4 or 5 sacks. And I like them, basically, 1.5, but I like them to win this football game this week. And the first time I'm doing it this season, I'm taking my Packers at home versus Pittsburgh on Sunday, -6.5. I just like the favorites. Hopefully I don't regret not putting the Chiefs in there because I'm with Barney as well. They're going to destroy Philly on the road, but I'm going to stick with those 3 and we'll see where it goes. I'm doing all right. I'm off to a better start this year than last year. So we're going to keep it rocking.
There we go.
All right. I like it. Oh, well, so there you have it. Our best bets for week 4 of the NFL season. So let us know what your best bets are. Follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Reach out to us or leave a comment on there. Let us know what you think of the best bets or if you have something better in mind. So that's Instagram at The Pylon, Twitter at The Pylon Pod. And then subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Download it and leave a review. We'd really appreciate that as well. Otherwise, gentlemen, week 4, the end of September. We're rolling into October now. There's playoff baseball on the horizon and just more NFL football. It's that time of year.
Brady needs 68 yards, by the way.
What's that? Oh,
Brady
68.
needs 68 yards.
68. Oh, yeah. So he's definitely getting into this game. So we'll get the if they did like they did for Drew Brees, they'll stop the game. Kids run on the field. Brady will make out with his son like he did in the video.
Rob Gronkowski is going to get that 69th yard.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be
really
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
That'd be hilarious and cool at the same time for sure. All right, gentlemen. So and listeners, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy football and enjoy the start of fall.